have browned off the thighs. I'll show you what they look like. Ta-da! Now there's water in there because I browned them off and then I've added some water just up to the height of where the thighs are sitting in the big pan. I've chosen thighs because I like they're sort of halfway between a chicken leg and a chicken breast. I suppose that geographically a thigh is halfway between a leg and a breast, so I like that it gives you that in-between nature. It's not so bony, there is a bone in it, but it's kind of like neatly packaged. I've kept the skin on because I just think that it adds a lot more flavour. You can take it off later if you don't want to physically eat the skin. But the idea now is we've browned off the chicken, we've given it sort of a brownish texture to keep the moisture in, and now I put water in to create a bit of the stock because I want to use some of it for my jollof. I've added the carrots in now. The tomato paste was nice and cooked, it's got nice and thick, and I've added very finely chopped carrots because traditionally carrots and me were not very good friends. Because carrots normally don't cook when I really need them to cook well into something, and when they're a side dish and I really don't want them to be too, basically I want to go for the al dente style, they normally turn to absolute piss. So I've put the carrots in now. They're quite finely chopped into the thick tomatoey, thick tomatoey glory that is my jollof, because I'm hoping I'll give them a head start in actually cooking down. It's a rice dish, I don't want them to be like in between the rice, but I still want you to be able to taste them. I don't want them to sort of like melt in either, but I figured if I put them in now, I haven't pre-boiled them, part-boiled them, nothing. I've just put them in sort of finely chopped, so wish me luck. My chicken stock is already looking good, it's sort of bubbling away in there, really bubbling. I've got it on quite a high heat so that it extracts some of the taste out quite quickly. I'm going to add some of that into there to give it a bit of that chickeny flavour. I'm really tempted to put some red wine in there just for some measure, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it as authentic as possible. Again, comment below all you Ghanaians who think I'm an absolute tosser and who can't cook Ghanaian food for shit. But let's see how it turns out. I've now got a thick paste. So I'm going to stir and film with my iPad. Thick paste, so thick. Now it's time for the next step. Rice has been added, we're almost there. I've added approximately 2 cups of normal rice, bog standard, thick, short grain, little rice, and it's raw, and I've just added it to the thick paste, and I'm just making sure that it's actually all covered before I go to the next step. So it's all covered into the thick, gooey liquid, and it smells so good. But the problem is that even though it's not sticking, because I was smart and I used the non-stick frying pan, problem is that you can't really cook rice without any moisture. So I'm happy that it's, flavoursome and enjoying itself in there. But I want to add this. Now this is, okay, let's have a look, about 1/4 of a pint, I might add a bit more, but for now that's fine, of the chicken stock that appeared from my chicken thighs. I don't want to take all of the stock because I need some of that for the stew. I got some pepper in my eye, I went like that, and I'm back. Right, I've turned my jollof into a space age sort of looking item. There it is. I'll explain that in just a second. And just to recap on my stew, because I got told to hurry up. My guests are arriving soon, so I kind of need to hurry up and stop passing around. So, to my chicken that was all bubbling away, I added carrots, green pepper, my onga delight. I added tomato puree, and I think I added red pepper in there because I just had it. I haven't put too much of these babies in. I think I've put about half of one and I de-seeded it, because as much as I'm making quite a lot, I think I've used about 6 or 7 chicken thighs for like 4 people. But I'm kind of counting on all that chicken falling apart and falling into the dish, and then me picking the bones and nasty, undesirable stuff out before I serve it, hopefully. But not everybody likes a lot of hot. So what I've done is I will obviously provide some extra chili powder or some extra pepper, like the salsa stuff. I'll blend a bit of this, maybe one, with some tomato, onion, garlic, bit of ginger, and I'll blend it up all together. And then if anybody thinks that... So I'm going to explain the space age device, this thing. What I've done is, with my jollof, I'll take this off for just a second and put it up there, it's looking very nice. I kept adding the stock. Oh, it's sizzling. I added the stock, I added the I added orange peppers instead of green peppers because I just thought the colour would match. I stayed in the stock, the chicken stock, and now I'm keeping an eye on it. So what I'm doing is every 5 minutes I'm giving it a little tickle. Now say if I'd have kept with the big pan, this big boy, it would have been better because it would have had more depth to it in a way, and more steam would have been allowed to cook the rice. Because what you do is traditionally you get a carrier bag that you sort of wet underneath and you put it down, and the plastic bag just sweats out the rice, so it sort of steams it and it cooks in its way that it cooks, where it dries up but actually the rice gains the moisture. I think Morrison's bags are biodegradable and it might go in the food. So I'm using good old tin foil, which I read you can actually use instead. So what I'm doing is I'm just laying the foil on the top like this, just very gently press it down. It's a bit hot under there, so be careful. And then that was hot. Right, so leave it there, don't do anything with it, just leave it. If you have a spare pan lid, I'm just going to go and find one, put it on the top, but it's not really, because I'm using a very shallow pan, I'm using sort of what is a deepish frying pan. I don't think I'm going to need a lid, because I think that the tin foil in the little pan will be fine, so I'm just going to sort of hope for the best. But it smells really nice. My stew is now cooking, but I'm not touching it again because that really hurt. And it's bubbling away. I added the tomato paste, my peppers, my carrots, and of course the onga stuff. I added 2 to it because it's quite a big dish and I wanted it to be like extra. And what's happening is right now the water, I'll show you when I get a cloth, hang on. 1 minute. Use one of these, it helps. Right, so what's happening is, the water's, if you can see it, because my iPad's a bit rubbish, the water's quite... Whoosh! Hello! Oh dear. My jollof is drying up. Just lifted the foil, and it looks quite dry, and I don't want it to burn. So now I'm going to add a little bit more moisture. I'm not going to add any more of the stew because the stew has got different spices in it now. The stew it's gone its own way. It's doing its own thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to take an OXO chicken cube and I'm going to dissolve it in a little bit of water inside this jug. I'm going to add a little bit more water to the rice because the rice doesn't look cooked yet and I want it to cook without burning. And one thing I forgot to tell you, every 5 minutes, lift up the foil and give the whole pan a good stir very evenly. Yes, you need to stir your food, otherwise it gets black on the bottom, which mine has not done because I haven't left it at all. So my dad just came in and told me the kitchen looks like a zombie apocalypse, with brains smooshed around the room as if they've just been killed. So I need to do a bit of tidying up. But yeah, I want to just show you, let me just unplug this now. I want to show you that my jollof is cooking! It's actually cooking! Look, it's all thick and like, now with a different spoon, let's see how the stew is getting on. The stew is actually darkening how it's meant to, but the chicken is starting to now really break up and the stew sauce is getting kind of darkish. And that's what we want. I think another half hour all that chicken will have fallen off the bones. My stew will be nice and sort of, I might add a bit more water just to like let it boil off a bit more so I can turn it up. But yeah, it's got green peppers in, carrots, onion, a lot of onga, tomato paste and chicken thighs, salt and pepper. I've done a little bit of a taste test on the stew, but right, oh shit, oh fuck, what am I doing? But for now I'm just going to put the lid back on. You didn't see me do that, it's fine. I'm going to get my rice back steaming away in its steamy little way, and I'm going to put the lid back on here. And I'm going to try and find one of my little Ghanaian dresses that I bought in Osu, because I think that might just top off the evening. I'm going to make a little bit of plain rice, plain boiled rice, just in case my jollof is not desirable. Where's the stew? Oh, stew bubbling. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. My jollof is soft and plump, and I'm just drying it right out. I've just taken off the foil to show you. It is actually, it's a bit stickier than I would have liked it, but never mind. I'm also cooking some plain rice, and as soon as this is done, I presume everything else will be done. And then my stew is like melt in your mouth stew. Stew-deloo, stew-delicious, stew-delicious. Stew, it's actually alright, look. My jollof is totally cooked. Tastes good. It's dry enough. It's got that consistency where I could just pick it right up with my hands and go, good. And my stew has gone a bit stringy with the chicken, but at least I know it's cooked, right? But it's good because it means that all of the bones have dropped away. So when I put it in the main bowl, which you're going to see in a second, I can just pick up the bones. And I'm doing my plain rice looks alright. Plain rice. So my stew, go on stew. So I added peas to my stew right at the last minute, like green peas, because I realised that I just really like peas. And why can't you put it in stew? So I've left it in bones and all. People can pick out the bones as they wish. But here you are. This is my big old plate of chicken stew. I'm about to strain the rice and serve the rice with the jollof rice and then boom.